Do you love breakdowns? Do you need stats? Do you crave insight? Download the AllStar app. UFC, Bellator, PFL 1 Championship, and more. Ad-free, fully customizable. Download the best app in the business. Link in descriptions. About this whole James Krause situation, since you're a guy that is into the gambling and into the betting on fights, and you're a fighter and you've been around the world training all over all kinds of gyms. So have you probably been following this closely like everybody else that's involved in the sport and seeing like this all escalate, right? Like James Krause, they flag him, you know what I mean, because of the line movement on the Minner fights. You know, Minner is cut. James is suspended by the UFC. Now he's suspended by, I believe he's suspended by the commission as well, right? He can't. Yeah, they said that he cannot, like, no fights, nobody that fights for him, nobody from his gym, they can fight in the UFC. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they banned all that. They put in all that into gambling, like on anybody that's involved with James Krause. They're
Yep.
not accepting those
It's
get
like,
bets anymore. Canada is like getting rid of UFC, right, from certain provinces from
yeah,
betting, and that's
Ottawa,
huge.
Alberta. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Now you saw like a couple days ago that yeah, James Krause is selling his ownership of the gym, Glory MMA, to
Okay.
one of the guys, I think one of the managers of Iridium, like one of the managers
Uh,
that are involved with Iridium.
Probably, what's his name, right?
Cost, I think his name is. Let me see. Let me look into this.
Mark
This
Jason.
report. His name is. Let me see. Fuck, where's his name? Oh, Joe Wooster. He is he's the owner of Fighting Alliance Championship and an Iridium sports agent. So I
Oh,
guess James Krause, I guess the report that he's selling the ownership to that gym. Now, whenever all this stuff is happening, right?
yeah,
And I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt because nowadays in society, you are always guilty until proven innocent, right? Like if anything comes out, you know, even if you're innocent, like people are thinking that you're guilty. Now,
for sure. Usually.
yeah, usually, right? But this whole situation now, like his Discord, like it's deleted. His Instagram is deleted. His YouTube page is deleted. Um, Anything that has anything to do with gambling has been deleted from like online. I believe uh they confiscated some stuff from his home. I don't know. This is things that I've been hearing, right? That they're starting to investigate, right? And but now he's sold his ownership of his own gym that he built, dude, like from the ground up. That to me, that tells a lot. That
Yeah,
tells us a lot. You know, we can speculate a lot now. For
yeah.
you, what is your speculation? Like, what do you think is really happening right now with this whole investigation?
Um, I don't know. I just think now he made a mistake. He got caught, and now he's under the magnifying glass, and and they want to make an example. And usually, when they have one person, the first person, when it comes into a situation like this, they have to make an example. And regardless of whether or not they can prove if he's, guilty or innocent, it's not going to be possible to really prove unless we've got cold, red, hard, evidence, right? So, they're probably like people talking to him like in important positions, saying, "Look, this is what you got to do. If you're not doing this, then this is what's going to happen to you. And if you do this, you're not going to get into much trouble." So I feel like he's trying to make it that he's safe, that the people that are around him are safe, because there are a lot of people that relied on him or have relied on him, especially for his career, their careers as fighters. So obviously, it's not just him that he's got to look out for. He's got to look out for the people around him. And I think if he's being smart, he's seeing the effects that what he's done has brought on the community. So for him, he's the best way to do it is to show, look, I'm going to step away from everything, let you guys continue to be successful, continue to train, continue to be able to work, and hopefully still have opportunities in the UFC, because I have nothing to do with any of this, because it's bigger than him now. because he's affecting people's careers. Imagine, I mean, I don't know the number, but there's quite a few UFC fighters out of that gym. So for them to be literally, you know, crossed off the list of not being able to perform in the UFC anymore, that's taking money out of their pockets, that's ending their career. So I think that's the right thing to do, but also what seems to be happening, because we're not hearing any evidence. We don't hear any breaking news of what they've caught him with, or what is it exactly that he's done. So I'm sure stuff will start to come out, and then we can talk more about that. But just from what I'm seeing now, this is what I think so far.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, maybe he is putting himself in a position where he can protect himself as well as protect everybody else around him, so he could mitigate the damage done or damage that could happen if he started to fight this situation. If he's guilty, what I mean, if he's guilty, if they do have evidence. But the thing is about investigations, and and a lot of people know, even if you're not involved or never been involved with like criminal activity, if you just seen it on TV, you should know that they're pulling people in, they're interviewing people, they're interrogating people. There's got to be that going on right now, right? Especially if the police is involved and there's a huge like investigation going on. And like in trading, you got insider trading, and basically if you're giving information to people about fighters or situations, and then that can manipulate like because books, like sports books, they don't take that shit lightly. Like they're looking for people to fucking crack their heads, right? They're looking, just like casinos are looking for people to cheat,
Yeah,
because they want to make an example of somebody, right? So the
sure.
next person don't do it. And
Exactly.
and you know what? I would not be surprised if we see some other names pop up that we know and recognize in the sport
Mhm.
involved in this somehow, some way. And especially somebody snitching too. There's always going to be somebody snitching.
For sure.
Always going to be somebody giving up information. That's what
For
investigations are for, right? And
Mhm.
that's why everybody's laser focused on this, man. Like, because we don't know who exactly is involved,
Yeah.
and it's gonna change some things, right? It's gonna change, like,
Oh,
I don't
how
know
it
what
works.
it's gonna change, but it's gonna change some things, man. Especially with gambling, because gambling is a big part of fighting, man. Like,
For sure.
it's a massive part. That's what it makes it popular in a lot of countries and a lot of places, is the gambling. Like, if
For
there's
sure.
something on it, you want to watch it. Like, you want to be involved in it more. Like,
100%.
if in there's certain countries that don't allow gambling, and I think that affects the popularity of like the sport of fighting, especially like
Yeah.
with the UFC and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it does affect it. So with James Krause, man, I hope he did nothing wrong. I hope he didn't. But if you go back and watch that interview that he did with Errol Houani, and he was fucking arrogant as fuck about like gambling and like gambling on his own fighters, and
Yeah.
it's just like, I have a Discord and I make more money off gambling than I do off coaching, and I take over people's accounts, and I ask people that gamble, and it says that's illegal. He told me,
Oh
like, you
yeah.
can't go take over people's accounts and gamble for them.
Damn.
Like, I was like, what, for real? Because I was like, I didn't know that. Like, that's illegal. I was like,
Yeah.
why would
That's
he admit to that?
yeah. He didn't know. That's the thing. He also gave up a lot of evidence on his own. Like that was the problem. Like I was talking to multiple people, and I'm like, what an idiot. I'm like, it's one thing to like, say here every once in a while, oh yeah, I want to parlay here, cool, blah blah blah. But to literally set it up that way and to be public about it, and then be in a position that you are as a head coach for a big gym in the UFC, it's like the dumbest thing ever. Like it's one thing if I start a Discord and I'm like, okay, I'm a fighter, I train out of a gym in Vegas, but I have no affiliation whatsoever to, fighters all over the world competing, and it's different. They don't touch my gym, they don't have any affiliation to the fighters, I don't have any affiliation to the coaches. So in reality it's okay, right? But if I'm starting to corner these fighters, they start seeing me in the back, I'm you know in their camps, and then all of a sudden I'm on my Discord, hey, so and so is injured, or so and so's got this deficiency, or so and so is good here. That's technically insider trading. You know what I mean? That's insider information that the public would know otherwise. So there's a very fine line, I'm sure, that is going to be created in succession to what we're seeing. You know, like this, there's going to be rules put in place where, look, if you're a UFC, because problem is the UFC is hiring independent contractors, aren't employing people, so they can't necessarily say you can't do this. But at the same time, maybe they're going to have to revisit that and change the stipulations because in reality, you can't stop an independent contractor from betting on themselves or betting UFC fights. But I'll tell you a story. It was this year's Super Bowl. I'd seen advertised for like DraftKings and all that shit, and I'd never tried it. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna download the app and sign up and try it. So I went on DraftKings, put in all of my information, social security, whatever, my name, and then it blocked my account. And then I was like, what the fuck? And it's like I found out the reason that they blocked my account was because I'm a professional athlete. So DraftKings does not let professional athletes to gamble. And I was going to gamble on the Super Bowl, which I obviously have no affiliation to whatsoever. So the fact that I'm a professional athlete on DraftKings cannot gamble on any other sport is pretty ridiculous. But maybe that's what's going to happen. But still, it doesn't stop us. It's like, you know, oh, I'm a professional athlete. I can't gamble. So I go ask my sister to go place a bet. It makes,
Exactly.
it makes really no difference. So, yeah, so it's just I don't know what they're gonna do. It's probably gonna be stupid, as it usually is in the beginning. But again, we're just waiting to see because as with like everything in life, this is gonna be a talking point. Oh, do you remember when it was like when betting was so easy? I remember when betting was so easy back in like 2016 when like Ronda Rousey fought Holly Holm and Nate Diaz fought McGregor, like shit like that. The betting lines were different. The people working those betting lines had no idea what the hell was going on in MMA.
Yeah.
But now they know what's going on. They hire people like us that follow MMA. They got people working there doing everything to make sure that they got the best lines, you know, to protect their money. So at the end of the day, they want to win. They don't want us to win. So they're going to do everything in their power to make sure it advantages them. You know, that's just how it is.
There's no way, dude. There's no way that they can control that information from flowing. There's no way. It's you could catch people doing it, but there's no way because, like you said, you're in the back with a bunch of other fighters in one room, right? Getting ready to fight, and there are people warming up. You got coaches talking. You could hear people going. You know what I mean? And like I heard the story about one coach. He saw somebody in the back warming up, and he saw like something was wrong. So he right there on his phone, he placed a bet against that fighter.
Yeah.
That probably happened all the time. You know what I mean?
bet.
Now it's a little bit different, but it probably happened all the time. You know what I mean? Like, what about this? This is a conspiracy theory you could go into. What if a manager manages two fighters and they're fighting each other?
I know.
They're privileged to information
I know.
for both sides, right?
Jay Perrin and Raul Rosas both Iridium.
Yeah, like that could be something that people could start digging into as well, right? You don't know. You know what I mean? There's so much like speculation that goes into all of this shit, but
Absolutely.
I'm
bro.
glad that something's happening now because they need to fix it. The integrity of the sport, like it could be shattered with
Absolutely.
something big, you know what I mean, like this. So they need to fix this now. There's been gambling what is it? There's been fight fixing type stuff that went on. Never really actually was fight fixing because the dude that was supposed to fix the fight, he won the fight when he was supposed to lose, right? So it kind of fucked up at the end. But this they need to handle with care, right? Because it could destroy a lot of stuff. But it seems like the UFC, it's in their benefit to control this and to contain it and to make sure it's handled properly. Because if it's not, man, there's big sponsors like DraftKings and like like gambling sponsors all over the world that want to be involved in fighting. You know what I mean? And that could cut off, and that's huge money, right?
Yeah, as soon as there's like it's public corruption, then people are gonna not want to bet first of all, and then that's gonna lose a lot of viewership. It's gonna become WWE, and that's not what the UFC has ever been. So if it ever, I mean, like honestly, everyone that's talking about the Paddy Pimblett Gordon fight, like for the most part, are saying it's rigged. That's a rigged decision. That's a preordained decision that they wanted to happen regardless. Even if Jared Gordon literally would have had to knock him unconscious or put him to sleep for him to get his hand raised, it seemed like because of how much of a marketing cash cow he is. So these are unfortunate things that you never want to see in the sport, like martial arts, mixed martial arts. At the end of the day, it's gone so far away from mixed martial arts that it's all entertainment now. But in order for them to continue to make that money, they have to at least create that illusion that they're doing something to make sure that this is like, there's some integrity left.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is an ongoing story. You know, what I mean, we'll continue to talk about it more and more and more and more as it goes on, as more evidence comes out.